We are back, Tom Anderson Show, and one of my friends with Optima Public Relations is voiceover artist Bev Standing. And Bev, we've worked together. In fact, you just won a Reed Award from Campaigns and Elections magazine for the successful Glenda Ledford-Wasilla mayor race. And we just heard your ad with Alpenglow Women's Health. So you're abound in the great state of Alaska. How are you, Bev Standing?
I'm fine, Tom. And we won the award. Yeah, I'm doing okay. Thanks.
Well,
Hope you guys are too.
We are, and your voice, you are on so many different ads, and you are heard by many, and they may not know your name or that you're Canadian, or they may not know your rich resume, or that you're a professor of sorts. You actually teach voiceover and the art of which, and you're active in WOVO and these other national and international groups, but they may have heard your name through TikTok. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to have you visit with us today. And we'll make a YouTube video out of this so people really understand, and I hope they can share it in defense of you. It sounds like I heard a TikTok ad or video a year ago, and I heard your voice, and I'm real good with the voice and the connection if I've worked with the artist. And I thought, man, I didn't know Bev Standing had that gig. Tell me how this transpired, and maybe you can try to figure out what happened on how they procured your voice.
In December, a colleague of mine who lives in Portugal sent me a TikTok video through Messenger, and said, "Is this your voice?" And I went, "Wow, yeah, that's kind of," I didn't know anything about TikTok. And I said, "Yeah, that's my voice." And then she sent me another one, and I went, "Whoa, wait a minute." And then family members started sending. This was over a period of about 48 hours. I was sent a whole bunch of TikTok videos, and they all had my voice. So I downloaded the app, and I typed in some stuff, and you hit text, and then it says text to speech. And lo and behold, it was my voice every time. And I went, oh. And I knew instantly where the voice came from. And so to backtrack, 3 years ago, I did a text-to-speech job for what I was told would be a translation usage. 3 different languages to U.S. English. And I agreed to that. And I recorded 10,000 sentences, and they all had the same tonality. Every sentence broken up into 2 halves. The color of the tree is green. The water is very warm. Let's go eat dinner. My car doesn't work. The sentences didn't make sense, but all had to sound like that.
Wow. And you immediately knew. Now, is TikTok Chinese? Is TikTok American? And I know you may not know the history and provenance of how the technology started, but I mean, when you look at a federal lawsuit or a direct lawsuit or whatever the litigation is that you're pursuing, which I don't blame you, I think you're going to have they'll settle and you'll have a payday. And so a couple questions to that end. One, is this an international case or a Canadian case, a U.S. case? How does that work with your counsel?
TikTok is owned by ByteDance, and ByteDance has an office in New York.
But so it's in New York City. So your counsel, they said we got to go after the company that the headquarters in New York.
Well, so then it gets into the legal proceedings, which I know nothing about. So I contacted Rob Skigliampiglia. I can't get it. I get it right every time. I read it this time. Skigliampiglia.
Yep.
And he said, "I know exactly what to do. Let me look into this, and I will do what I need to do, and I will let you know when the complaint is filed." So he did that.
No,
and that was about a month ago tomorrow, I guess.
Now, what if they gave you a contract? The minute I read the story, I thought, okay, yeah, and not that you're doing it for the payday, but I'm sure you'll be compensated, and you should be compensated, and I think there should be a settlement. But what would you do about settling? What if they said, we actually would like to hire you? Or do you think that once you go after them in this case, they won't do that? You'll be an adversary permanently? Or do you think you could negotiate, your counsel could negotiate? Because that's what I would do. I would say, hey, let's come up with a settlement for what you've used and then hire me.
Well, I think that there's certainly a conversation there based on the TikTok videos that I'm still getting sent of people putting in the text that the new TikTok voice doesn't work for them. They miss the old voice. I'm being messaged directly, and they're not all polite, but they all say the same thing. In two emails that I can quote, I've ruined TikTok. They can't. They can't do what they want to do with the new voice. They want my old voice back. I've been contacted to work directly with people who are that use my voice for the text to speech on their videos, and they don't. It doesn't work with the new voice, and so based on those conversations, if that opens a conversation with TikTok and Rob and me, then so be it. There's so much more of a bigger picture to this. I need to be compensated for using my voice because that's what I do for a living, and this is my business. But on top of that, text-to-speech is not new. It's been in the works for a while, but it's ever evolving. And as it evolves, voice talent have to learn to work with this.
Of
And the
course.
people who are designing text-to-speech have to learn to work with the voice talent. So let's come out with some agreements in place that it's a win-win. Please understand I'm not trying to be difficult. I'm not just saying, hey, give me money. I'm saying, hey, wait a minute. You can't use my voice without my permission. There has to be an agreement in place. This is my business.
Yeah, well, and you're a
So,
mentor. We're talking with Bev Standing. She's really a global voiceover. She's from Canada. I have worked with her at Optima Public Relations, and because of her, we've won some pretty significant national awards and integral to a radio script and music sound bed and special effects. Of course, obviously, the pillar of it is the voiceover. Trust me. Trust me. And so it's like a good restaurant. The pillar of it is wine and the ambiance. It just is. It is. And so with a voiceover and someone of your caliber, this is going to be instructive and a lesson. And I think it's going to be a milestone for future. I think that's what you would like it to be. And that's what I hear you saying. You're part of
yes,
like Wovo and other groups. You're not just a mentor. You're a voiceover coach and instructor. Does that matter to you? Like you say, it's not just about compensation. It's about your industry and the spirit of it. And you're one of the leaders, and you want to represent, don't you?
I do. And I've had other people say to me, I'm really proud you're a woman standing up. And really, I'm just a person that is standing up. But they're right. I am a female standing up and saying you can't do this. I'm a business standing up and saying you can't do this. And as a teacher, I'm leading by example to tell my students, don't just go and accept whatever is thrown out because it has consequences.
Yeah, it really does. In terms of
It
TikTok,
really
and
does.
when people look at, so people understand, and I want to get into, because if you can do one more segment, it would be appreciated. When we look at like the voiceover construct, someone contacts you and they say, "Hey, I'm a grocery store. I'm an ad agency for a grocery store. I'm a communications specialist within a grocery store. I'm a referral, whatever the case may be." And they say, "Hi, Ms. Standing, Bev Standing, you're the great Bev Standing. Would you be willing to voice this?" And then you, of course, say, how many ads do you need? How long is it? What is it going to be used for? In what venue? Is it on Fox News, national, or is it in Toledo, Ohio? Is it in one
Right.
radio station or another? You have to sift through all that regarding the price point, correct?
Correct. With every single job, it comes down to how many eyes and ears are on it, and does it create a conflict for you working for a competitor down the road based on how many eyes and ears are on it?
And how often has that happened where someone says, "Hey, I'm Coca-Cola," and you're like, "Sorry, I work with Pepsi." "Hey, I'm Pizza Hut." "Sorry, I work with Godfathers," or, Papa Murphy's. Do you have conflicts every so often?
I do. I do. There's certain jobs I cannot even audition for, but I'm aware of that, and it's in my agreement. So
Wow,
I'm okay.
I love it. We're gonna come back with Bev Standing. I actually want to get into not just talk about TikTok, and we'll recap that so people understand why she's suing and why she's gonna win, and why I hope TikTok hires her and she is the national voice. I tell you that it's how it should be. That would be a great happy ending to that. But I also want to talk about the voiceover artists, and like when we hear someone on Disney or in a computer game and the dimensions of that. Stay with us with voiceover extraordinaire artist Bev Standing right here on the Tom Anderson Show. We are back, Tom Anderson Show, and talking with extraordinary voiceover talent, Bev Standing. And she is someone that we've worked with at Optima Public Relations, award-winning, and we're talking about TikTok. And to recap, she starts getting emails, hey, I didn't know you had the gig with TikTok. And she said, pardon me? And it's like, hey, millions of people are making their little TikTok videos with Bev Standing's voice. And it's like a Siri, or it's like what's the thing in your house?
The Alexa?
Yeah, Tommy, with the Alexa. And Bev's like, that's interesting because I don't have a contract with TikTok. And so she gets an attorney, and they are hopefully going to talk and negotiate and settle, not get into a full-flowing lawsuit, because she's going to win if that's the case. And I'd rather have TikTok hire you, Bev. But before we went into the break, I wanted to talk about cartoons and about videos and all those. Some of your colleagues have maybe the luxury or the excitement or the honor, or maybe it's not so much fun, I don't know, of doing those gigs. I can imagine what it would be like to voice over on Futurama or The Simpsons or Family Guy or Disney or Pixar. Have you ever been considered? Have you ever done any of those? Have you ever tried out? Or is that an interest to be in that niche? Or is that an area you're not interested in?
I wouldn't say it's an area I'm not interested in, but I'm really busy in all the other things I do. It's a genre all to itself, and I have met many of the people who work with the industries you just talked about. Some really famous people, and it's fascinating to learn what they need to do and the different ways they need to treat a script versus someone like myself for commercial or corporate or training and radio spots. It's a totally different world. So it's fascinating. I'm not sure I have the energy to do it at this point in time, but it's pretty cool, and it's very different. It's fun.
If you were, let's say you were all of a sudden picked as Meg and for Family Guy, and so you pop in there as the teenage girl, would that change if you got a gig like that? Or pick a new cartoon? Seth MacFarlane picks another one, and they're like, we want Bev Standing as the mom. Okay, so now you take the gig. Does that affect all of your ads? Because like one of the guys I work with who used to do my intros, Pete Gustin, out of California, who is partially, by the way, I think he's either blind or deaf, but I think he's blind, but he basically is like really deep voice. He did my show, and he did some other ads for us. All of a sudden, I start watching Fox News here in the U.S., and if anybody's heard that deep voice, this is Fox News, Tucker Carlson's. That's Pete. He got that gig, and it changed. I'm sure it changed his ability to get other contracts. That's a great real example. Using my Seth MacFarlane new cartoon, Bev Standing gets the mother spot. Would that change a lot of the ads you could do? And would that up your rates? Or how does that happen? How does that evolve once you get a gig of that nature?
I think, well, for me, I don't think it would stop me from doing anything else unless it was in the agreement with, Seth MacFarlane and the organization. If they said, we don't want you being, voicing for anything else, but it would have to be such a recognizable voice.
Yeah.
It would be, this is the voice you're going to use for this character, and you can't even use it at the dinner table.
Oh, boy. And you're going to get compensated
right?
for
it. But that doesn't mean I can't have a different voice.
Yep.
Because voice acting is acting in every way, so you simply have a different emotion. And if you could separate your voice so it does not sound like that character, you'd probably be okay. But when they do that, when you get that kind of exclusivity, there's usually a good paycheck that goes along with it.
Yeah. So, that's true.
Incentive.
Someone says we're going to pay you a few million a year. You might say, okay, I'm not going to do Tommy Boy's lemonade stand ad. that makes sense.
Oh, I'm always going to work with you.
Oh, you are sweet. Well, I'm a big fan. That's one of the reasons why our firm joined Wovo, and with those voice organizations and talking with your colleagues, I assume the camaraderie and the allegiance to you was 100%. I'll bet you every voiceover artist and talent that you've talked to said, go get him, girl. whether it's partner with TikTok in the future or get compensated. Have you had anybody that said, "Hey, you shouldn't be pursuing your lawsuit"?
Not in the industry. I've had a couple of negative private emails going, "What are you doing? It's just a voice." They don't get it. That's okay.
Yeah,
I don't get a lot of things in industries I don't understand, and that's fine. But no, the support is, they're all behind me 100% and thanking me for standing up for something they all need to happen, and haven't been in a position where to make that stand. And I am the chosen one that get to speak on their behalf by
yeah,
setting
it's
some standards,
huge.
hopefully with an agreement.
It's
Yeah.
going to set a
And it's not
precedent.
just support from talent, though, Tom. It's support from clients like yourself
Yep.
and casting directors and my agents. They are all behind me. They all think this is the right thing to do.
By the way, what does it happen? There are union voiceovers, SAG-AFTRA, and there are non-union voiceovers. We work with Harry Chase or Sheldon Smith, who does a lot of work up here with political. He helped our local mayor Dave Bronson through Art Hackney, and I don't know if you work with Hackney, but there's a difference between union and non-union. If you were really heavy into SAG-AFTRA, would they be helping as well on this, or does that change the dimension of the contesting of using your voice without authorization? How does that work?
I don't know because I am non-union, but I would presume, and I'm going to presume this, that if I was a member of the union, I would have contact with them and I could ask them to help. But
Sure.
if I had done that, I probably would have put the job through the union
Yeah,
and said, "Help me
exactly.
with the negotiation of
Yep.
this."
Yep.
Um, and it just wasn't that
I'm
complicated when I
glad you're
took the job
non-union. I'll leave
that
it
I
at that.
actually got.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
So
SAG-AFTRA, they're very expensive. And, I still get Sheldon Smith's, "Hey, this is SAG-AFTRA from Manhattan, New York. And we wanted to update you on Sheldon." I love Sheldon, by the way, he's a dear friend. But Sheldon's retirement. It's like, huh? Welcome to a union. I'm glad you're non-union. No offense to the union voiceovers out there listening to this YouTube video, or watching it. But now let's get into talking with your counsel. Sometimes attorneys say, "Hey, don't talk to media. Don't get on the Tom Anderson show. We're going to, basically confidentially resolve this." It sounds like your counsel said politely, Bev, which you were always polite and thoughtful and professional, "Go forth, young lady, and you can go ahead and talk about your story." He doesn't have consternation with you doing that, does he? Because I've noticed there's a lot of stories about you on the internet about this case.
Well, there are, and the reason I'm accepting talking to people and welcoming talking to people is because it's the bigger picture, and the bigger picture is what needs to be brought to light. And the only way I can do that is not sitting in my booth going, "Well, my lawyer will take care of everything if TikTok comes to them." The bottom line is it's the bigger picture. So what I talk about is the truth on my end. I don't talk about anything legal
Yep.
because I'm not a lawyer, but
Yeah.
I'm a really good voice actor. So I talk about the voice acting end of it and how it's affected me personally, and I tell my truth, and that's exactly what's happening. And people seem to want to know that, and I think by sharing that, they get a little better understanding of why I'm doing it. And it's like I said, I want some agreement somewhere. I don't want to fight, but I want my business sense to kick in and say, right the wrong,
Yep.
however that looks, and
Absolutely.
let me keep working because I love what I do.
Well, and you're an
But understand this
artist.
is a business.
It's like trademark infringement, copyright infringement, plagiarizing. You're an artist. Everybody out there, if you are, or you know someone that writes, that publishes, that's a singer, that's a dancer, that's a craftsman, that it has a patent of something and it's been infringed. That's what Bev's going through. The other day, my wife Lila was playing something from the Philippines and she was giggling, and it was a TikTok video and your voice was there. And then she showed me another one. She's on one. We have lab puppies. And she's like, "Oh, look at honey. Someone's got their poodle with their Labrador with this." And then your voice was on again. And I said, "I got to call Bev. I got to call her and get her to interview because TikTok used her voice. That's my friend." Now all of a sudden I'm saying I know her, one of those rubbing elbows with the elites. But
There you go.
I'm proud of you for what you do. And folks, her name is Bev Standing. You've heard her voice. I hear your voice all the time on national ads, but I shouldn't be hearing your voice on TikTok videos. They usurped. They took your voice inappropriately. I know you're going to be compensated. I'm praying that they do the right thing. They make lemonade out of lemons, and they hire you. And they hire you for a massive contract and allow you to still work with the little guys like me. So crossing my fingers, Bev, okay?
That sounds wonderful.
Okay, Bev Standing, we love you. God bless you. Keep up the good work, folks. It's the Tom Anderson Show signing off. Enjoy your Thursday. God bless.